Pensacola and the local waters are blessed with a lot of different fish that you can fish for inshore with a rod and reel. And they all have their own personalities. The most predominant fish that people go after is speckled trout. And these are very aggressive fish. They're real territorial, and they'll attack whatever you bring to them. They love to eat shrimp and small crustaceans and small fish, and they're very good to eat. Flounder are the ninja assassins of the local game waters. They bury themselves under sand and they wait for their prey to come by, and they jump out and get it. And as a result of that, you have to be very patient to fish for them and very skilled at what you're doing. But it's well worth the effort because flounder are the best tasting of any of our local inshore fish. Sheepshead are just stupid. They like to eat barnacles off of piers, and they like to eat small crustaceans, and they also don't taste very good. They've got a lot of bones in them. But they do fight like the dickens. Redfish are a very strong, muscular fish, and they put up a great fight, probably the strongest fighters of any of the local inshore fish. But you've heard of blackened redfish, and the reason for that is because redfish doesn't taste that great. And you blacken it, it kind of masks the flavor. But my favorite fish is the Spanish mackerel. And Spanish mackerel are a schooling fish, and when they get to feeding, they lose all the sense that God gave fish, and they'll just do anything. And as a result of that, during this time of year, they're easy to catch. You don't need a boat. You don't need a lot of expensive gear, so anybody can fish for them. Spanish are the smaller cousins of the king mackerel. Kings weigh from 10 to 30 pounds and can grow larger. But Spanish mackerel typically grow from 2 to 5 pounds, and they can get up to about 8 to 10 pounds. And the other difference between Spanish and king mackerel, as you'll notice, is that they have spots on their sides. So if you caught one of the small fish and it's got spots on its sides, that's a Spanish mackerel. The range of Spanish mackerel is all the way from the Yucatan up to Maine, but the most predominant place they live is right here in the Gulf. And I understand that they migrate. I don't know where they go, but it's true that during the winter months we don't see Spanish mackerel here very often. They start to show up in the Gulf waters around late spring and early summer. And during this time of year, during late summer and early fall, they move into the bay, and that's when the fun starts. Because you can catch them from the shore, you can catch them from a dock, or you can catch them from a boat. Their favorite food are these little glass minnows. They go in big schools. And glass minnows are actually anchovies, the same sort of anchovies you put on your pizza, only smaller. And the Spanish mackerel will go after those in large numbers to gather around them. Fortunately for those people who fish for Spanish mackerel, the other predator that the glass minnows have are these least terns, the little birds that nest on the beach. And oftentimes when you're out in the Gulf or out in the bay, you can see the flocks of these terns dive bombing into the schools of the glass minnows. And so if the glass minnows are there, the Spanish are either there or not far behind. So often you'll see people who have boats carry binoculars to look for the flocks of birds. And when they find the flocks of birds, they'll go and target the fish. When the Spanish school after these glass minnows and get on the top of the water, you can turn the whole surface of the water into a 100-yard square area of just foam because they're feeding so voraciously. And that's when it's easiest to catch them because they have no sense at all, and they'll attack just about anything you put in front of them. The favorite lures for those are live baits, which are shrimp, and who doesn't like shrimp? But small, anything silver and small like a spoon will attract them that you pull through the water. The stores sell these gotcha lures, and these are great because they have a couple of different hooks on them, and it doubles your chance of catching a fish. But my favorite rig to catch Spanish mackerel is, I've lost it. It's right here. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Gerald. Is a McDonald's straw. Thank you, Gerald, my assistant. Is a McDonald's straw. I don't know why, but they don't like Burger King straws or Circle K straws, but they do go after the McDonald's straws. And if you cut them about the size of a glass minnow and thread them on in front of a hook, they'll attack those things. And it's a light lure. It's hard to get anywhere out, but in order to overcome that, if you use a weighted bobber like this, which you fill up with water, it's called a bubble rig, it will get the lure out where you need it to be. And it has the added advantage of when you pull it through the water, it makes splashes on top of the water. And the fish, like I said, are not very smart. And they'll sit underwater and they'll say, hey, somebody's eating. And they will all charge, and you can make your own feeding frenzy with just one of these. So
Nice.
make your own luck with those. The other thing to remember is that Spanish have very razor sharp teeth. And so any kind of lure that you put out or bait that you put out needs to have a steel leader, a braided steel leader in front of it, because they'll cut any other kind of line that's put in front of them. The other thing to remember about their razor sharp teeth is when you get them to the boat or to shore, is to use a hook remover like that, or a pair of needle nose pliers, but never stick your finger in the mouth of a Spanish mackerel or bluefish, because you'll be sorry.
Okay.
One of my favorite memories of fishing for Spanish mackerel, we were out in our little boat, and all 5 of us and my family were out there, and every one of us had a Spanish mackerel on. And when Spanish hook up on your lures, a lot of fish will just pull. Well, the Spanish go crazy when you have them on a hook, and they'll circle your boat or circle you, and they'll jump out of the water. So all 5 of us had a fish on the line, and we were chasing each other around the boat and climbing on top of each other, trying to keep our lines from getting tangled, and having a great time and laughing about it. Because Spanish are not the top of the line predators, they only eat those little glass minnows, they're safer to eat than some of the bigger fish which have toxins in their bodies. So it's okay to eat them. Because they're an oily fish, if you catch them, you need to eat them that day. Otherwise, they don't last very long and they don't store very well. The way people like to cook them, because they're an oily fish, is to barbecue them or grill them. I like to blacken them or to smoke them. They don't fry very well, but they do make great sushi. So Spanish mackerel is a great local fish. It's very prevalent in our local waters. It's easy to catch. They fight like the dickens, and they taste really good. So if you have any more questions about it, please talk to me after the meeting.